results as parents.
Duol mochung'ne kedo gi mibadhi e pacho ka EACC oyango moko kuom rode ma sirikal ma kaontis tiyo godo e nyayo weche mag mibadhi. EACC wacho ni sirikal ma kaunti tiyo gi onge mar bad migawo mochung'ne nono kaka kaontis tiyo go omenda mag jopiny ma bende gisebedo ka giyako. EACC koro miyo kaontis ndalo 60 mar dino rode ma kamago kaka yo mar kedo gi mibadhi. Wawinjane kaka twak ma kamano dhi nyime.
And because investigations sometimes do take time, because the law requires that after investigations you have to take the file to the DPP, who will also have time with it before it finally gets to the court. EACC is now contemporaneously working with the institutions to strengthen their systems as investigations continue. That will help us in many ways. Number one, to seal those systemic loopholes that allow corrupt people to engage in corruption. And secondly, if those systems are effective and efficient, even those Kenyans who sometimes initiate corruption because they want shortcuts, because they want quick service, sometimes for very good reasons, they will not have reasons to do that. If you go to an organization and you find that the systems are working, even the temptation to get a shortcut, or the temptation to look for some other way, the temptation to, find out who can assist you, will not be there. So that brings in the role of heads of organizations. Because these internal controls that we're talking about are not established by EACC. This explains why heads of organizations in the ministries and the counties have to ensure that they have put in place controls that are effective, and in respect to counties, ensuring that the audit function, which is moribund in most of them, is working. Because EACC will, in most cases, investigate cases when money is already lost. So what have we done? We have asked the governors in that communication that has been sent to the governors and the county speakers to take note of these malpractices and these shortfalls and these accountability deficits that have been identified in that exercise, and correct them while EACC continues with investigations in specific cases. To ensure that people do what they are supposed to do, the commission has asked them to submit an implementation plan within 60 working days, so that EACC could guide them and work with them to strengthen their systems. It is also not lost in our minds that those loopholes are sometimes deliberately created, and that is why we have to monitor and expose those who are hell-bent on creating an environment that allows corruption. The Commission is committed to creating a very hostile environment to the corrupt in both the national and county governments, and this will involve ensuring that those systemic weaknesses that people take advantage of are sealed. The second issue in that communication that was dispatched to the counties 2 days ago relates to asset management. Asset management in a public institution entails that process of acquiring public assets to include how those assets are deployed, how they are operated, how they are used, until their disposal when they become obsolete. So that is another avenue for corruption in county governments. We have cases where public officials, including senior ones, in some cases at the very top in the counties, have converted public assets to personal property. We have seen cases where people continuously use county vehicles when they are not public officials, and that is with the knowledge and the connivance of county officials. Cases where individuals shamelessly fuel personal vehicles for their children, using fuel cards meant for the county government. We have seen cases where people collude with thieves to grab government land vested in the county governments. And this is partly because of this other loophole that they talked about, and that is where many of them have not maintained asset register. You know, if you are a public institution and you do not have records that show the property that is vested under your care and control, honestly, how can you say that you are serving public interest, or you are taking care of the assets that the people of Kenya have bestowed in you? So that is one of the gaps that we have identified. Cases where a county government cannot tell what they would regard as property owned by that county. And another disturbing one is also the fact that in some of those county governments, key public assets are still registered under the defunct local authorities. The properties have not been transited, and that is a loophole that has been utilized by corrupt officials to grab those assets. There is no shortage of examples where public officials have gone to look for retired officers who had authority to sign certain things when they were in office, to ask them to sign documents and